Coronavirus Q&A is what we call this segment, where we separate the facts from the fear that are out there and ask your questions and our questions surrounding COVID-19. And we are very happy to have the president and CEO from the Texas Biomedical Research Institute, Dr. Larry Schlesinger, with us. Doctor, thank you for being here with us. And I know you know a lot about vaccines that are in development, some things that are out there. When it comes to a timeline, do you think by the end of the year is realistic?
Thank you. Good to be here. I think having a vaccine that's brought broadly out to the public by the end of this year is highly ambitious and not likely. Having said that, I'm very hopeful that we will have a vaccine. And I think some of the data from phase 1 clinical trial, the little bit we know, and it's not much, and some of the animal studies that are out there are suggestive that are consistent with the fact that we will have a vaccine. But there's a long way to go. We're really just at the beginning, although there is truly a lot of energy around this, and we hear about it very frequently. I think it's going to take a bit more time till we fully vet a lead candidate, a vaccine that works for the majority of the people, and that we handle all the detailed manufacturing processes necessary to broadly distribute a vaccine.
Doctor, can you talk to us about the role that San Antonio is playing in all this?
Well, I think San Antonio has a lot of science going on right now, and there's a range of projects going on. Texas Biomedical Research Institute's mission is to protect the public from infectious diseases. And we have about 40 individuals, staff, and faculty involved in studies. And our primary studies have been in further development of those animal models and to be used in testing therapies and vaccines. And we're just completing our first major study and being written up for publication. Really, in the next week or two, you'll be hearing more about it. And what we're learning is that the immune response to COVID-19 is more complex than just antibodies. Antibodies are produced by cells, and we're learning a lot more about how the cells respond to the virus. So we're really in a prime position with both primate models and small animal models, rodent models, to be able to test a variety of therapies and vaccines. And we have a number of partners, nearing 100, that we're working with on a number of these types of studies. Now, we partner with UT Health San Antonio, UTSA, and Southwest Research Institute, who are also playing a role. And the medical school is involved in some multi-center clinical trials, particularly looking at therapies, combination therapies for COVID-19, remdesivir plus some other drugs. So we have patient-centered research going on in the city. And we also have drug discovery going on through work at UTSA and Southwest Research Institute using the technologies that they have available. And the good news is we're partnering with each other very effectively through an entity called the San Antonio Partnership for Precision Therapeutics. And I'm very excited about this as a formalized partnership among the major research institutes, but also the private sector has a role to play, and BioBridge Global is doing some studies with regard to plasma therapy. So when you put it all together, I think we have a very broad scope, and we have an opportunity to make a difference to people's lives.
You know, it seems like we're learning so much about this disease, on a day-by-day basis. And I know that your background is infectious disease. I know that tuberculosis and lungs for you especially. Are you intrigued by how this disease appears to be affecting people's lung function?
Well, yes, I think we're in a phase where we're learning a lot every day. And I think that some of the clinical features of this disease continue to be puzzling, of interest to me as a lung biologist. I mean, the fact that a number of people who are infected remain asymptomatic, and it does appear through the research being done that a lot of the virus stays up in the upper airways. This is where a lot of the persistence occurs. But that there are a subset of individuals who become critically ill on ventilators, and they're not all just older individuals or those with other diseases like diabetes, some young people as well, although it's more common in older individuals that perhaps have underlying lung disease. But this is all about the fact that we as humans have a very diverse immune system, and our reaction to any foreign invader, in this case COVID-19, is quite variable. We're hearing about clotting disorders, and now we have this very worrisome, although rare, complication in children with a systemic disorder. And this is telling us a bit more about so-called vasculitis, or, there are good antibodies that protect us, but there are also antibodies that may be contributing to this hyperimmune response. So I think there are a number of unanswered features. We're learning about the response while we're trying to create a vaccine. Now, that's unprecedented. The other part that's unusual is the fact that the 24/7 news cycle and bioarchives, which is a public repository for non-peer-reviewed papers, gives a lot of information, but it's early information. And I really think we need to take pause and continue to educate the public on what is so-called vetted or peer-reviewed, thoroughly evaluated, versus just some factoids that we're not really sure what they mean.
Some fascinating information there from Dr. Larry Schlesinger. Thank you so much for joining us.
And of course, we'll talk to you again at 9 and see you on the night beat
my
at 10.
pleasure.
Thank you, doctor. Appreciate it.